Said when all was said and done, the spending plan did pass with little difficulty. We have Rick Hightower live outside the council chambers with the very latest. Rick, was there a big turnout tonight?
Well, the council chambers weren't exactly packed. Most of the seats were filled, but there were 14 separate budgets passed tonight for the various city county departments. But the greatest portion of that budget vote was 17-12. Now, the largest increase using most of the new county option income tax money went to the police and fire departments, and that passed with little opposition.
There will be no public testimony.
The time for public comment was over. Still, some anti-budget, anti-tax protesters showed up at the chambers and turned their backs on the council's vote.
The bottom line is our city didn't do enough to cut spending, but they're passing the budget regardless. You know, they're breaking people's backs. Our elderly, you know, the inner city people who can't afford it.
There was debate over the parks budget, the arts, even public works. But most criticism came from the council about itself.
And this body has been terrible fiscal managers, in my opinion, and we have offered over the years.
I'm not sure we've had that in my 27 previous years combined, but that's terrible. $124 new million.
But when it came time to cast their votes, the largest chunk, which went for public safety, passed easily.
Public safety passes 22-6.
Additional uniformed patrols throughout the city will be very helpful in the reduction of crime, and certainly they'll be helpful in reassuring citizens of our presence in our neighborhoods.
And if we get any leaner, this city won't have trash pickup, we won't have streets repaired, we won't have new sidewalks, and the only place where we really made some strong increases was public safety. We stood up and did the right thing in terms of making sure Indianapolis is going to be safer in the future, in terms of making sure we reduce crime.
And the other budgets tonight passed fairly easily as well, like the Capital Improvement Board, the airport, Indigo, and the welfare budget. The only one that was even close was the library budget. Live outside the City Council chambers, Rick Hightower, 6 News.
Council chamber in the tax protests we've seen here this summer. But this time, they had to let their clothes do the talking.
There will be no public testimony this evening.
This time was the council's turn.
Proposal number 339.
The city says the budget reduces the property tax levy by $50 million and will put more police officers on the street.
I do believe that an increase in uniform patrols will be helpful in the reduction of crime, and I also believe it will be very helpful and very reassuring to our citizens as they see more marked patrols going through their neighborhoods and providing that type of service that every neighborhood deserves.
But Republicans challenged the mayor's spending plans.
The constituents are telling me as I'm knocking on doors that we are spending too darn much money in city government and county government, and they want us to cut back.
It's a shame. I hate to have to go out voting against it. I guess I came in voting against budget, and I guess I'm going to leave the same way. But it's too bad because this is just irresponsible government.
The protesters aren't happy either.
The bottom line is they should have cut at least 10 to 15% across the board, tighten the belt up just like you and I have to when bills are due, and they're not doing it.
Now, one council member, Democrat Roselle Boyd, acknowledged the critics after tonight's vote, praising them for their interest and for not using disruption to express their opposition. Now he says he hopes they can focus on the legislature, which he says has more influence over their tax concerns. Now, take a look at this. The budget's total expenditures are slightly more than $1 billion. Public safety and criminal justice represents the largest outlay at almost $580 million. Child services and welfare debt under community affairs takes more than $102 million. Money for the Parks Department represents the smallest piece of the budget, and that's $33 million. That was also an area of some dispute tonight.